So the Nintendo Switch is out, and at least early on, things are looking really good for Nintendo. A few days ago, GameStop said that the console launch was one of the biggest in the last several years, which doesn't really tell you a whole lot because that's kind of vague. Some people use several years to describe 3 years or 4 years or 5 years, so who knows how long they were going back. But we did get a little bit more information from Nintendo themselves, who said that the Nintendo Switch was the most successful launch ever in America, beating out the Nintendo 64, Super NES, even the original Wii. Also, Legend of Zelda is now the most successful launch title of all time for Nintendo, which the current holder of that title was Super Mario 64, going back to the N64 days, so that held on quite a while. Zelda also being one of the highest rated games this generation if you look across the board at critical receptions, but it isn't just America that Nintendo is dominating. Today it was revealed that over the weekend it also became the best-selling Nintendo console in Europe, and Zelda also now the best-selling launch title in Europe, beating out Wii Sports, which is a pretty significant accomplishment because Wii Sports was actually bundled in with the Wii hardware, so you have the standalone game that actually took over the lead as far as that goes, so pretty impressive. Not only that, though, I mean, usually this is a slow period in the gaming industry. I mean, people are talking about consoles dying, and you can, claim that Nintendo Switch is also a handheld, which it definitely is, but it kind of does both. But, I mean, good news for the gaming industry that Nintendo's doing so well, at least early on. Stock still extremely limited. A lot of people still can't get their systems that they want. I have a good friend who actually went out, bought Zelda, and is still trying to track down a system. So it was definitely a gamble for Nintendo to put out a system this early in the year, but I think it may pay off because I think if this trend holds, Nintendo's got the rest of the year to release games. They got Mario coming up, and then that way by the time Christmas actually gets here, they're not going to be fighting over stock issues, which happens a lot at launch like it's happening right now. But if you do it, during Christmas time, you're going to lose a lot more sales. So by then, everything should be up, and they should have a lot more games out there on the system. So, who knows if this is going to continue to trend like it is, but definitely a strong start out of the gate. It hasn't all been smooth, though. There have been a lot of issues that we see a lot of times whenever we have these launches, from the controllers losing connection to screen scratching whenever you place it in a dock to systems just flat out not working, being bricked upon startup. So this happens a lot whenever you have a console launch. You've got hundreds of thousands or millions possibly out there in the wild. So you're definitely going to see a influx of videos with problems. It's hard to know, though, how widespread those issues actually are. But Nintendo also brought a little bit of controversy upon themselves because as far as quality goes, they mentioned that dead pixels on the screen are not a defect, but something that's normal whenever you mass produce LCD screens, which is complete horseshit. Like, if you get a Nintendo Switch and it has dead pixels, or if you buy a monitor or a TV or anything that has dead pixels, you take that son of a bitch back and you swap it out. That is not a feature. That is definitely something that you do not want on your screen. And that's why it's also probably best to buy from places like Amazon or Best Buy that are real easy to just go in and swap it out as long as you've got your receipt. And then finally, yes, you may have heard that Nintendo Switch cartridges taste like shit. They taste bad. Like, why are you tasting these? I don't know. But this story broke a few days ago. Tons of people have been putting the games in their mouth and realizing that it's pretty terrible. It turns out that the cartridges are coated in an agent that is non-toxic, but is meant to be offensive so that if young kids or babies get a hold of one, they end up spitting it out instead of swallowing it. Which, I mean, I guess it's interesting. I don't find myself questioning Nintendo as much as I do the hard-hitting journalists who went out of their way to go lick their games. Like, I really want to know who the first adult was to sit there and say, hey, I wonder what happens if I put this in my mouth. Like, well, what the hell were they thinking, you know? So, makes you wonder what else they put in their mouth. That does it for me, The Red Dragon. If you want the latest on gaming news, stay tuned to videogamesandnews.com. I'll see you next time. Thanks for watching.
Are you listening? Damn.